Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Joe from GadgetryTech.com, and today we're going to talk about the Xbox wireless headset. This is the official one from Microsoft. It's $100, has some really good features out of the box, including USB-C, noise cancellation on the microphone. You get game to chat mix, of course, and the real kicker with this at $100 is it has Bluetooth, simultaneous Bluetooth with your Xbox connection. So if you want to listen to music from your phone, or if you're like me and you play next to a computer screen, I paired this to the computer so I can listen to the audio from the PC, in between games. If I want to listen to music on, Spotify, Tidal, whatever you use, you can do that simultaneously while playing games. That is super cool. So I want to point that out because not a lot of people understand how the wireless connection stuff works. It does support Bluetooth plus Xbox Direct pairing simultaneously. All right, we're going to get right into sound quality because it's super important to discuss that with this headset along with the mic. Then I'll discuss how this compares to other $100 headsets for Xbox, and then discuss some final thoughts at the end. And we will cover the app. The app is super simple. It's really easy to use, and it updates the firmware wirelessly, which I love. Most headsets, as you know, if you have to update the firmware, you have to plug a USB cable into a computer. This can all do it through Xbox. That's super slick. So this does work on the original Xbox One, Xbox One S, Xbox One X, Series S, Series X, etc. So if you have an Xbox that's in the past two generations, you're good to go. Anything that uses that direct pair feature, all set. So sound quality. The bass out of the box, I'm just going to warn you now, it is super strong. And it's not a good super strong because it's so overdone or over boosted that you lose a lot of the mid-range details. So I'm telling you this early because if you tune out on my review and you don't want to watch the rest, totally fine. But if you buy this, you need to know, don't use the default game profile. Either go to movie mode or music mode just to soften it up. Or what I really recommend is the custom EQ. Take advantage of it because it makes a massive difference. It goes from one of my least favorite headsets at this price point for sound quality and imaging and spatial awareness to the very, very top. So if that isn't a spoiler alert, that's where we're going with this. So my review is going to be based off the custom EQ. And I'll show you a screenshot of that when we go over the app, and I'll put a link in the description in case you want to know how to tune it. Basically, this has really good bass, and it's a little bit of a V shape. The highs can be sharp. I found that just leaving it flat on the highs makes a big difference, or keeps it sounding clear enough. Whereas if you boost that 8 kilohertz range, it gets extremely sharp. It can almost have an ear-piercing quality, which is normal. If you boost those highs on a headset that's capable of producing it, you're going to have a sharp sounding headset. So I recommend leaving that flat. You can play around with the mids, but the biggest advantage to this headset is significantly reducing the bass. With that being said, once you've done that, sound quality is phenomenal. At $100, this is incredibly good and even really good for music, which isn't too common at this price range. Most headsets are passable for gaming, but when you listen to rock in particular, they struggle big time. Guitars just sound terrible. The vocals in the mid-range there, they fall apart. And it's not so bad on a gaming headset for just playing games, but with something like this that can dual purpose music stream, if you will, that is important to address. So once tuned, it also affects the Bluetooth audio source. So if you're streaming from your PC and you've custom tuned the EQ, both the Bluetooth and the Xbox wireless connection will now mirror that EQ setting, which I really, really like. Okay, now it's time to talk about mic quality. So we're talking on the Xbox headset now, if you can't already tell. Should be a big difference in sound. It's good. It's not on the upper end as far as quality goes. The Stealth 600 and the Stealth 700s have arguably the clearest sounding mics. Corsair's right up there. But this is a good middle tier mic. It doesn't have the boomy low end because it's tuned. Where the mic is placed and the way they tune it, there's no deep bass to your voice, but there's also no sharp highs, which is good because you don't want to pick up too much of the background noise going on either. So it transmits vocals well. Now, Xbox on the app provides you with a feature called auto mute. And what that is it's basically a noise gate. They call it auto mute instead of a noise gate, but you have 4 levels. You have off, then low, medium, high. High is going to reject more background noise, and when you're not speaking, your mic should go completely silent. So for when you play with friends and they have a fan on in the background that you're constantly hearing, it drives people crazy. Now, when they're not speaking, you shouldn't hear that fan at all. It's going to cut that out. Now, obviously, if it's getting wind blown on it, it should pick that up because there's no windsock, but it does do a really good job of getting rid of the background noise. Right now, I have auto mute off because I just wanted to show you how it sounded with that being said. So I'm going to turn auto mute on high and show you the difference. Okay, so now auto mute is on high, and the tone of my voice is pretty much the same. It doesn't affect how you sound, but it does affect how quickly the sound roll off is when you're not talking. So it does impact that a little bit. Not a deal breaker, but again, if you have a noisier environment, you got to keep in mind this is a $100 headset that has a four-way adjustable noise gate. Most expensive, or when I say expensive, like $150 to $200 headsets, the noise gate isn't adjustable. It's either on or off. So I love that you have a fully configurable headset. Not only do they give you the ability to EQ it on the sound side, but now you can change the noise gate. Now, the only thing where this falls shy a bit is on the mic monitoring or side tone. Even on high, it's extremely low. You really can't hear yourself. I don't know if it's variable or not. It doesn't seem to get any louder when my mic is on, but it's there. If I'm muted, I can tell that it's off. The mic monitoring isn't working or side tone anymore, so I can't hear myself in the headset. But on and on high, it didn't seem to make a difference from low to high. So maybe they'll fix that with a firmware update. I'm just basing it off of 2 days or day 2 of use. Now, one thing that's really weird about this headset, another odd little feature, is this is the only headset that I've ever used where when the microphone is on, the light is on, and when you're muted, the light is off. It's backwards from every other headset that's had an LED on it that I've used. So it takes some getting used to. I just want to point that out because a lot of people, I'm sure, are going to mute themselves and wonder why no one can hear them. It's when the light is on. You can adjust the brightness of the LED to help you see it more, but the boom is so short, it's really difficult to spot that LED unless you look down at it. So it's an odd feature, but it is what it is, and at least it lets you toggle the mute on and off here. So there's a physical button. It does play an audible tone. It'll descend when you're muted and ascend in pitch when you're unmuting. So interface controls, very straightforward. It's just backwards from what you'd think with regards to mute light status. Now, when it comes to ergonomics, this approach, a lot of people don't like this. I love this because when you're gaming, you want really quick adjustment. I use Call of Duty Warzone on so many reviews, so people are probably sick of it, but it's the easiest way to reference an example. So if anyone that's played Call of Duty's Warzone, you know that the audio mix is not that good. And if you're in the airplane dropping, that plane is crazy loud. So what do? You turn it down towards your friends so you can hear them more, right? When you jump out, you want to start hearing the game more because you want to know if people are parachuting behind you, if they're landing on the same building as you, etc. So I actually like the fact that this uses these giant outer cups that rotate to adjust mix for game and chat. So there's a little notch. So when I'm centered here, I know that I am 50-50 on game versus voice. Now, if I go down, I'm on chat, and if I go up, I'm all game. The reason why I say that, again, if I'm dropping and I have the controller and I'm trying to do this fast, I could just do this. And if I want to go straight to, full game and silence my friends, again, really quick. Some headsets, the Sony Pulse, for example, the controls are terrible on it. They put all these little buttons right next to each other, or dials. On the Sony, it's literally just a bunch of little buttons. And then you have to kind of hope that you're hitting the right one and tap it enough to where it changes. You could be dead at that point on the game. So if you're a competitive player, I love having the giant knob. It's actually a really slick feature. The only thing, if I had a nitpick, is the power button is also the pair button. I always wish they'd do them separately because you have to hold them at certain intervals to get it to do it. Long press to pair, short press to turn off. Well, the mic mute button is just below it. So if you have large hands and you grab it like this, you may actually hit the power button by accident without realizing it. And you'll get used to it, but I turned it off once. I couldn't figure out what was going on. I just tapped it just right and it shut off. So controls aren't bad though. I'm really happy with these dials. They actually feel incredibly solid. They don't feel flimsy or cheap or catchy in any way. Now, when it comes to comfort, the comfort's really good. So this weighs 318 or 312 grams. It's actually one of the lightest headsets I've covered that has full wireless with Bluetooth. It does not use memory foam. It does use leatherette, so there's pros and cons. Not having memory foam isn't the end of the world. These are incredibly soft. In fact, for $100, these are probably one of the best ones I've used if you wear glasses. So I use Gunnars sometimes. Very, very forgiving for glasses. So if you're concerned about glasses comfort, you're good to go there. Now, leatherette is good to boost bass, which these didn't really need. Honestly, I think if they went with a sport fabric, it would have had a better sound and it would have breathed better. I get incredible sound isolation with these. I barely hear anything happening outside of the headset. to a point where when this was cranked with music, I couldn't even hear the vacuum that was just outside my door. So it blocks a lot of the sound. Now with leatherette, you do get warm after a while. Your ears will get a little hot. So if you're in a hot room, just keep that in mind. Anything past 2-3 hours of gaming, you're really going to start feeling it. So you'll probably be doing this once in a while. Again, you got to keep in mind this is a $100 headset. Leatherette is great for noise isolation and getting the most out of your headset, but it does run a little bit warm. Now, it's no secret that $100 is a competitive space. You have the Lucid Sound LS15X, the Stealth 600 Gen 2, SteelSeries Arctis 1, the Plantronics Rig. There's just so many headsets in this price point. I'm obviously leaving a bunch out. But I compared this to the Stealth, the Lucid, and the SteelSeries. And out of the box, again, this lacked the most detail because of the bass. But when you tuned it, it immediately went towards the top. The only headset, if you don't want to customize anything, the only headset that was comparable or better for gaming was the Lucid Sound LS15X, which surprised me. That really is a great headset at $100. It doesn't have Bluetooth or all the customization. In fact, there's no customization. It's just 3 EQ presets and a power button. But it's a great sounding headset, and that would be the closest thing I could compare it to. These Turtle Beach doesn't get as loud as these. These get incredibly loud, louder than every other headset I've tested at this price point. SteelSeries, again, not as loud either. SteelSeries is quieter like the Stealth 600, and it lacks a lot of the low-end bass. So overall sound quality, to me, this is the best sounding one out of all of them. It has mid-tier on the microphone side, but where it counts the most is your sound and comfort, and these do an incredible job there. Okay, so now it's time to show you the app real quick. And once you've done the firmware update, you'll see this screen. It's going to say configure, so we're going to hit A to configure it. And I want to show you the equalizer or the custom EQ that I did. So you can see here, there is a massive reduction in bass to make this have the clarity that it needs. Otherwise, if you leave this flat, the bass gets so high, it literally drowns out the rest of the audio mix, and you just don't get the detail you're looking for. So on custom mode, this kind of reduction transforms this headset into a much better sounding one and puts it at the top tier as far as quality at $100. Now I can show you the other presets and you can mess around with these yourself. But I can tell you, once you select one of these pre-made presets and then you go back to custom, custom doesn't save your old setting. It'll just let you customize whichever one you selected up here. So if I click movie right now, then click custom, I'm customizing movie and I lose basically the tuning. So I'm not going to mess with that too much. It is nice that you have all these presets, but I really recommend movie, music if you don't want to mess with it, or just go to custom and do what I did here. Bass boost is very much unnecessary because there's just way too much as it is. So that's the EQ. Now if I go to auto mute, this is the noise gate feature I was talking about. So you can set it from off, low, medium, high, and that's how you tune the headset sensitivity for background noise. There's a second mic on the boom to help reduce and reject background sounds, making your party chat more clear and focused. The mute light, this is basically, it's funny that they call it the mute light. When the light is on, it means your mic is not muted. So this is even more confusing, but you can change the brightness. Basically, when your microphone is active, the light turns on, and that's how you know you're talking. Mic monitoring, you can set from off, low, medium, high, but I found that high is still almost inaudible, especially if there's a game playing. So they have a very soft mic side tone, if you will, or mic monitoring, but it's nice that you can turn it on and off. It's just very, very faint. Now, as far as connectivity goes, not only does this work with direct pair to console, but you can also direct pair this to a Windows 10 PC if you have the Xbox wireless transmitter. It sells for $25 separately, but it is nice that you can use this as a PC headset. And when connected to the PC, you can actually use the accessories app on Windows to custom EQ it as well. So this headset can be used exclusively as a PC headset for $125 all in, and it sounds really good. This is also one of the few headsets that I've used on any gaming headset really that when plugged in with USB to the computer shows up as a headset. So you can actually use the USB DAC built into this, giving you 3 different ways to connect and use this headset. So that's really cool that they give you that option. Now I get asked a lot if a headset can work with Discord and Xbox at the same time. It's not too common, but this can technically work. I do want to point out the shortcomings of this. So the way Bluetooth works is you have 2 different audio profiles for this. You have one that's better for streaming music, then you have one for calls. That means your microphone can transmit audio back to the Bluetooth device and receive audio from the call. So when you're in Discord, if you want to use the mic built into this headset, you have to go into the hands-free profile, making your game sound reduced by 40 to 50%. It cuts down the volume of the game a lot, so you can hear the phone call that you're on. And when you do that, people can hear you on Discord, you'll hear them. It sounds kind of like a walkie-talkie, very low quality. I don't recommend it for that. One way you can cheat it is if you set the Discord audio output to the standard Bluetooth that you're paired to on this headset. So basically pair this to your computer with Bluetooth, but then use a USB microphone or your webcam mic, whatever it is. That'll sound much better for the party chat, believe it or not. And then you can hear the Discord chat really well too. So in theory, yes, you can do this, no problem. I just wouldn't recommend assigning the microphone from the Bluetooth headset on to Discord. It's going to mess it up. So it's kind of confusing. If you guys have questions, shoot me a comment. I'll do my best to answer them for you. It's possible. I just don't recommend it using the headset exclusively. Okay, now I want to give you some final thoughts here because there are really good things that, if you can't tell already, that I like about this headset. The sound quality, the microphone's good. The sound quality is excellent. The comfort's great. The Bluetooth functionality is incredible. I had no problems with Bluetooth. And the fact that it's $100 really makes this thing a home run at this price point. As long as you like the design and the way the controls work, it's really hard to beat at $100. This keeps up with $150 wireless headphones. This better stacks up against the Stealth 700 Gen 2 and the SteelSeries Arctis 9X and the Lucid Sound LS50X, which are all Bluetooth variants. Those go from $150 to $250, and this $100 one from Microsoft comes along and works incredibly well. So I compare it more with that than I do the cheaper ones, to be honest, when you look at the whole picture. So I really recommend these. I hope you found this helpful and I didn't waste too much of your time. I can't recommend them enough at this price point. It's almost impossible to beat. And kudos to Microsoft and Xbox for making a kick-ass headset. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching this review. I hope you found it helpful and you got what you needed out of it. I'll have links in the description below, whether it be for the Microsoft Store, Amazon. I'll try to find some places that have it and put them there. And yeah, please like and subscribe if you like this video. I'd love to see you come back. We have a lot of content coming out for other wireless headsets that we're covering right now. So expect to see more. And as always, thank you so much. I will see you next time. Bye.